Only women know who men really are. And that's why they have to tell their stories and tell what their life was like instead of staying completely silent all the time. Only women know men. And I mean know men in the privacy of life, not in the public, not in the Times Square where everybody is watching. I'm talking about behind closed doors and in the bedroom, two of the most precious places ever, and two of the most abused, unfortunately for the woman. But even, without the abuse part for right now, because it is a big part and we will never, never lose sight of that until it is extinguished from the woman's vocabulary, domestic violence. But even when it's not on that scale, we're just talking about how men think about women, really, you know, view women, how they talk to women, if they're a wife beater, if they're not, if they're a good father, if they're not, if they think that, you know, they just work and a woman is there to provide for all the rest of their needs, household and otherwise. And, um, you know, men cannot objectively give any kind of input into who a man is to a woman because even if one man has 99 girlfriends, right? Only the women. Now, I'm not going to say that his friends won't ever see him with the women or won't even they'll even see them, get into fights. And I don't mean physical, I just mean fights like everybody else has fights and stuff like that. So they do have insight into the relationship, but they don't know how men interact with us again in those private times. And those are really the only times that matter in our world. You know, I mean, someone treating you great in public is wonderful, but it really is behind closed doors where most men will become emotionally, physically, and sexually violent and abusive. And in those times, and it might not be to the abuse level, like I said, it might just be very off behavior of a man. Um, and men can look at each other and say that, hey, he's a good dude. I really like him. But what you are basing that assessment on is not the same assessment that women are looking at in men. Because in a male to male relationship, um, they are both on the patriarchal side of things and they're both men, is what I'm trying to say. Not patriarchal in the domineering sense at this moment. I just mean that they are both already on the same team. And in this society that we live in, they were socialized to believe that they are a certain way and that women are a certain way as well. And we all know that there are a lot of things that come with those two in society. Okay, a lot of things. And so that's where that differs because when a man to man relationship, they're still dealing with man first and then other qualifiers. For a man to a woman relationship, he's looking at the dominance of the man and you as a woman. And even if he thinks you all are equal, he has been raised in society where he has had a lot of information about him as a man and you as a woman. And that becomes problematic when women are are mistreated a lot and thought that they are, not as worthy. And there are a lot of things that come into play when you are a woman dealing with a man. And that can be friendships, that can be just a dude walking down the street who thinks he owns you, that can be, um, I mean, not saying that, women don't have great experiences with guys. Of course we do. Of course we do. We have um, lots of great experiences and have male friends and husbands and sons and, all these things. But um, when a man and a woman get together and the way the society is set up, a man can absolutely take a dominant role very easily and quickly in a woman's life because of the stereotypical ways that both sexes were raised. And that can be problematic for him, absolutely, but it can be a detriment for her. And it can be great too. It can have a great outcome as well. But being a woman, you have to go ahead and face the reality that when a man is involved, you can be in danger, and you will not ignore that fact, or else you could end up in a really bad situation. And there's so many faces, and there's so many, pitfalls that can happen to girls and women as they go through their lives. And there's no way that a man would be able to know what a man truly treats his wife, his daughter, and his sons too, but we're not talking about that right now. Right now we're talking about women and how she has to be the one to tell the story about how men treat her because, two men hanging out and having a beer is completely different than how he views a woman and decides to treat her. And that changes based upon different women as well. Men know, treat different women different ways as well. And that's why also a mom can say that her son is great, but only his girlfriends or wives and women that have actually been in a relationship with him specifically, they're the only ones that can say if your son is good. A man cannot declare upon himself that he is a good man. Who gave you that title? Who told you that you are a good man? Because if it came from your mama, if it came from your friends or your homeboys or your, pastor friends or your cop friends or your teammates, they don't matter. The only thing that matters is the actual women that you were in dark places and dark spaces with. And maybe someone's that before you could even get to a dark space cut you off because they were like, whoop, red flag. Or the guy cut you off because he was like, she ain't going for it. There's all kinds of scenarios, but women, you have to keep telling your story and you have to let these young girls understand that there are different faces of men and they have to be able to identify one from the other. And you can't allow a man to be the one to present her that narrative. It has to be you.